Hey, congratulations on your new film, Sting.
Thank you. We're very excited.
I know this is such a fun movie. I already watched it twice, but let's hear it from you. What initially drew you that you want to be a part of this project?
I think when I had the first directors meeting and I just sat down with Kia and I could like tell how excited and how interested and how like invested he was in this story. And I just I knew that it was going to turn out great if you have a director that's that committed to the story. And I read the script and it was great. It was like a dream role. It was so much fun. And I got to be a teenager. Then I got to be like covered in blood with a massive spider puppet. I could never turn that role down. It was incredible. Like the excitement. And I was just so excited to get on set. But it was very close that I wasn't going to be able to actually. I think you would know this, Ryan, maybe. But I was on Furiosa and I had one Sunday between the last day of Furiosa and the first day of pre-production for Sting. And it was very quick turnaround. And I definitely, a lot of my team thought that I wasn't going to be able to do Sting, but I always knew deep down that I was going to be able to. And Furiosa, they accommodated, thank goodness. And they got me to be able to be on Sting. And I'm so thankful that I can be here today and I'm going to see it in like a month or less, and I'm just really excited.
Yeah,
Wow.
Lila hasn't seen it yet. She wants to experience it at the cinema with the crowd the first time, which I think is really cool.
So what drew you into this, Brian?
I've always wanted to work with Kia. I think like backing off what Lila was saying, he has an incredible energy and he has a passion for films and the films that he grew up on and the films that he likes. And he's not scared of stepping outside the box, particularly in this country, and making genre films, creature features, things that excite him. And and I've tried to for a number of years on his different projects. And when this one came up, Kia spoke with me about this stemming from both a personal fear of spiders, but also a fear for him of being a good dad and of being a parent. And when those things, sometimes you do things that you think are right that go slightly awry. And that also going over into being a step parent, which personally I have two of, and have been such a wonderful supportive part of my life. For me, this was kind of like an homage to that relationship and navigating that relationship. And so I really liked that within the comedy and these effects and these fantastical sort of elements, that there was this real center heart that was about family and trying to keep a family together.
That is true because the family dynamic of as both of you father daughter dynamic was actually relevant through this entire movie. How do you two develop that chemistry together then, especially for her such a short round and turnaround time to be on this project?
Yeah, in 4 days or in a day.
We had um we had a couple pre-production days for about a week, and I remember we went to a really fun escape room all together. Do you remember that, Ryan?
That's right.
I remember I was just so excited to be on Sting and in this kind of cool studio, and remembering back to it, it makes it kind of sad because I just remember how much fun it was. And normally I don't get happy when thinking about fun memories. I get sad because like I'm not living them right now. But I remember we were in the escape room. Um, where was it? Was it in Chatswood? Like,
Yeah. I think we did terribly, right? Did we escape from any of the rooms? I remember there being like severed limbs and things, slightly horror themed things, which, was right down Kia's line. But you're right. That was a really great bonding exercise, huh?
was really great. I think I was so excited for it and it was really fun. And I remember I got like crackers after and had some yummy food, and it was really great. It was a great
Oh,
day.
there's no expense. She got given crackers. We did feed her on the film. But I think exactly extending upon what Lars was just saying, it's about that. It's about finding connections between us as people, in a really truncated sense of time. You know, we have to meet these people after they've had long-term relationships or, you know, literally raised in the same household. And you have to sort of shortcut your way into that connection and that trust. And so doing exercise like going to the escape rooms or sort of talking about our own families and our own lives and working out what makes each other laugh. You know, Lars would often, you know, you're a bit of a prankster, mate. You know, she'd often come out and put something in my room, or she was putting things on my phone, you know, that I couldn't get off, like weird talking parrots and you know, and like I'd come back to my phone at lunchtime to make a phone call, and there'd just be a few silly photos of Lyle's on the phone that she'd taken. So I think all of those things help you sort of shortcut a trust that you can use when you're on set and you have to trust each other to get the performances.
And yeah, I remember I jump scared Ryan quite a bit. I remember hiding next to his room, waiting for him to come out. And it was pretty funny.
You try it
I
every day.
waiting. And I remember once I scared Kia a lot because I have a really nice picture double called Alice, and we were both wearing the exact same clothing. And Kia came out of one of the doors. There was like two doors to get into the studio, this one, and then you walk through this one to get to this one. Then you go through kind of like a one of those butterfly exhibit doors things. And then there's like, anyways, so there was two doors to get into the studio, and then me and Alice were hiding in between the two doors and just staring straight in the exact same position. And Kia came in and he like audibly gasped and like ran away. Like he jumped and like turned away and started walking, and he was absolutely terrified. Like I got a video of it, but it was only like the very end of his reaction, so you can't really tell, but it was so funny and
got him good.
So funny. It was great. I love jump scaring people. I learned that from David Collins on Furiosa set. We jump scared each other every single day and like fake shot each other and fake bow and arrowed each other and stuff like that.
Wow.
When Furiosa comes out, I can probably share all those behind the scenes videos, and they're really funny. You guys are gonna like them when they come out. Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, David, who's an incredible mime, right? You know, and so you guys really, you'd shown me those videos, and it's these incredible practical stunts, essentially, you know, and like, you know, nap things and like how to fall or walk into a wall. And I think you used that a lot during the film, really. I mean, even though it was a giant spider, but you were a really physical performer like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy I met David. It was very fun. He made Furiosa even funner than it even was, which was great.
So tell us about acting alongside. You mentioned what, spider puppets? So you didn't really like act against a green ball on the stick or something like that?
Yeah, we acted against a puppet, which is a spider puppet, which was great. Incredible. Weta made it, which is like really cool. Like Weta's amazing. So we got this extremely realistic spider puppet that felt like you were in the room with a massive spider. I feel like I had this thought the other day or a while ago that was like, actors experience the scenes the most out of everybody. As in, like, say you watch a really scary movie and you're like, whoa, that was terrifying. Like, I couldn't do that. Well, the actors kind of experienced that in some way. And lucky I wasn't scared of spiders, but I still experienced the fear next to that massive creature. And I don't know, I think that's really interesting that the actors are actually in that basement, and the actors are actually with people with massive prosthetics on, and they're with a massive spider, and they're in aircon ducts. And yeah, I think it's really interesting that we're the ones that are actually inside the horror films. We actually live them, kind of, with fun and
doing it right. Yeah, to try and make an audience feel the same way, right?
Yeah.
Lars was just talking about preparation. There was one day I went in there, and it was one of the first days we had to be scared by a couple of these practical spiders. And, you know, and I think we were talking about how I was like, I've never seen a giant spy before, and how would I sort of interpret that? And she, I sort of jokingly said, walking past, "Oh, you just worked with Sigourney Weaver, right? You should give Sigourney a call. She did Alien, you know what I mean? Which is one of this film." Sort of walked out of the makeup, washed my hands or something, came back in, and she had Sigourney Weaver on FaceTime, who was talking her through how she'd extrapolated out her own little fears and made them bigger to be that scared of the actual alien creature, right? Lars, like the most incredible thing ever, obviously.
I'm not lying. It's what happened.
It was amazing.
It was the best.
That is pretty awesome. And I, from my understanding for the both of you, that this is not your first entry to the horror genre itself. I know it's not for you, Ryan. Maybe it's just maybe you've done thrillers or something like that. I mean, what about this genre that excites the both of you so much?
I think it's really always fun to shoot horror because one minute you're getting like terrified by this spider, and I actually find it fun to do emotional scenes because they're kind of like challenges. I always find it enjoyable to do emotional scenes, and there's always so many emotional scenes in horror films. And I think that it's always so fun being terrified by a massive spider and then saying cut, and then you're not terrified anymore. You're fine. And it's
Letting
like
it go.
counseling. Yeah, it's like almost counseling. Like being able to cry on set is like letting out all your character's emotions, but you also let out yours to a certain extent. Because when I was very little, I don't know, maybe 7, I made this analogy, and it was about like a tap faucet and in like the sink, and all of the water kind of gathers in the tap faucet to form like a drop, and then it all kind of gathers, and then it just drops like drip. And I think that's kind of like what happens on set is you have your own kind of the own water going into the tap faucet, but most of it is your characters, and you draw on the water from both you and your characters to create the drop. But
That's
yeah,
a great metaphor.
I don't know how I came up with the faucet, like all the water gathers and then it like drops, but I swear it was like when I was 7. I don't know. I remember thinking about that and saying it, but
It's also like filmmaking, right? Like the collaboration, like all of these threads coming together so that you can go action,
yeah, definitely.
I've done horrors before. I think in other horrors I've done, there's the yardstick has been different for me. I know when I did Wolf Creek a while ago, I wanted to make a horror film. I watched a lot of horrors before doing that, and I always got frustrated when someone would run up the stairs when the killer came through the door or not pick up the knife. And I wanted to make a horror film then in which I made all the right decisions that you're yelling at the screen for him to make, but he still has a really bad time and it doesn't go. So like, even so you didn't have a moment to go pick up the hat. Oh, he did. And he's still in trouble. On this one, it was more about finding a different tone. Like this film's got a real homage to 90s films. It's got some real cheek and humor to it, and it's slightly fantastical and elevated. And I think the challenge was sort of trying to make this creature feature horror film with comedy elements that at the center of it had this heart about family, and trying to have all of those threads, all those faucets sort of come through and see what our drop looked like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, one last thing real fast is as Australians, you guys don't have the fear of spiders, right? Because as an American, I always imagine spiders are like the size of horses over there in down under.
Yeah, you can get them about this big.
Dinner plates, yeah.
And
What you really got to worry about is the drop bears.
yeah, the drop bears are terrifying. Don't ever kill them though.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, most Americans don't, but like at certain places when you're going through it, look, they're mostly in Western Australia, most of Darwin. But if you go into certain gums, they.
I saw that there was one in Sydney recently that it dropped on someone.
There are Sydney drop bears.
Yeah, Sydney.
That's
I know,
terrifying.
like someone brought one over from Darwin or something as a joke, but it's not very funny.
See, they're starting to come over the border, but look, you hear a lot about this wildlife. There's a lot of Americans, a lot of people in the UK as well around. It's like, so like you've got snakes in your bathroom, right? It's like, do you ride a kangaroo to school? It's sort of like, I don't quite know what people sort of like come up with Crocodile Dundee or what's done this, but it's not quite as wild as I think people assume it is. You do get the occasional huntsman the size of Lily's head on your wall or wake up to.
Yeah.
But growing up with it, it's a pretty,
And
we're
they,
a pretty
they don't ever bite. Huntsmen are quite scared of you, so you just catch and release or just leave it there. You know, they can live in your house. They can eat some other smaller insects and stuff. So, you know.
You can see why she's Charlotte, can't you?
It seems like you guys live in a real life horror setting. Well, anyways, thank you very much for carrying this conversation with Sting. I can't wait for you folks to actually check it out. It's
I
terrific.
know.
So thank you very much. Appreciate it.